No, it wasn't MC Donald's or Hungry Jack's, or any of the other takeaway junk food outlets who started it. Although, they are conveniently placed in locations where you have to make a distinctive detour to miss them, and are now dominating the scene. The ones that instigated it to make us fat and to eat more started long before computers were known and even before TV became an addiction in our living rooms. It all started when movie theaters were the in thing in entertainment for the young and old. You may remember the bucket of popcorn that was part of the deal. It started way back then at the movies with that extra size popcorn, and it didn't take long for others starting to copy and making similar offers. Using a clever marketing trick, offering to the movie-goer an even bigger bucket of popcorn for the same price as a small one, or even for free. This was the time when revolutionizing our eating habits began by offering bigger size buckets, bigger bottles, bigger cans of sodas and bigger food containers. As this type of food industry started to grow and change, including the takeaway and fast foods with the golden arches, this influenced the way we eat now. Although this fat and obesity issue started in the US some 50 years ago, but when America sneezes the rest of the world catches a cold. When the food industry started to change. The big changes came in the 70s under President Nixon, when the American Secretary of Agriculture encouraged US farmers to produce more and faster, mainly huge quantities of corn, was the order then. The feeding of livestock also changed. Cattle were no longer fed natural green pasture, it changed to grain and corn with antibiotics and growth hormones to get quicker results. A big percentage of corn was made into high fructose corn syrup, HFCS, which is cheap to produce, and it replaced the use of sugar. As this substitute for sugar, corn syrup, was born, ever since this substance was heavily used in most food productions as well as in soft drinks and sodas. The growing food market availability of fast food 24/7 has revolutionized our eating habits. We gradually changed with the concept of supersizing to big eaters, and by 1980 obesity has doubled and is well accompanied with many health issues. Fueling up ourselves with poor nutrition, and loading our fat tissues with environmental and oxidizing toxins that are in our foods is just to make more money and bigger profits. The damage of artificial cheap sweeteners is still underestimated, and the consequences not fully understood or realized by most people. According to research, the overuse of corn syrup fructose can suppress the hormone leptin that carries the message to the brain which tells us when to stop eating. Far-fetched, you think? Not really. Leptin also regulates metabolism and body weight, which interacts with receptors in our brain. Leptin wasn't known 20 years ago, but it could help assisting in competing obesity, metabolic disorders and other diseases. One way to correct leptin resistance is through a natural, nutritious, healthy whole food diet. The food industry spend millions on lobbying to protect their own interests and profits to keep shareholders happy. They also know that changes are coming, and lobbying is well on its way against unhealthy preservatives in our food. Changes will take time. It has taken the anti-tobacco lobbyists over a decade to have any impact. Similar changes being seen in the food industries in the next decade or so. However, to compare tobacco to the food most of us eat every day, it can have worse health consequences than smoking. There is no question, heavy smoking and lack of exercise are certainly health hazards, but a far greater concern affecting our health more so is the food most of us indulge in. Considering this, smoking becomes a relatively minor factor when you compare it to the food that is on the market now. The major cause of health problems comes from 90% of processed food most people choose to eat. This type of subject needs every bit of help to bring such a serious issue into the mainstream. Of course, most government bureaucrats would rather stick their head into sand than come up with a positive and common sense solution for the industries they suppose to regulate. At the end, it is up to every one of us in making better choices. This is just another way to stop the damage through enough people being exposed to information like this to make changes. The evidence is clear that the cause of obesity starts when consuming too many calories, which come with supersized portions. The most important step to a healthier life is the change to a healthy diet. If you have benefited from this video, please hit the like and subscribe button for future video.